Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome on in to my chat. Welcome on in from the cold to my loving arms. My name is PinkerNeonNova, and I have been away for a while. I've been busy. I've been doing some stuff. I've been, around. Here and there and everywhere. Welcome. If you're new, hi, hello. If you're not, hi, hello. I got some different backgrounds from when I used to stream. Thank you so much to my very lovely artists, which I don't think I put them into the description, but they're my lovely, lovely friend that made them for me. And I will have to put that in the comments on this stream because, oh my god, my brain is not working here today. Axe! My friend Axe made them for me. And I'm so excited. They're so beautiful. I love them so much. Oh my gosh, why is my frames look bad here? Settings, quality. Let me see if I can fix that. There we go. I think it was just on my computer. My frames look bad. I hope they look good for everyone else. Yeah, so I was asked by a friend to show them how to do some crochet stuff. So I am going to do that here today. Hi, Kai-Rise. How are you? I missed you, my darling. I've been busy, but I'm here. So we're gonna learn to crochet. I hope you brought your learning brain today to do this. So let's get my camera up for this. I have it all set up. Sorry, I'm just moving between screens here. And you're right. How have I been? I've been good. I've just been busy with stuff. So, feel bad, but feel good. Feel bad I was away for so long. Basically, what happened was I got a full-time job, and I have been really wiped out from working that full-time job. But, I'm back now. Vaguely. We're going to see how this goes. But I was really excited because my friend Blue Yokai had said that they were wanting to learn how to crochet, or like wanting to learn a few things, and I said I can show you some things. Then I was like, I'll just do a stream about it, and then that video will be live forever. Let's get the camera up here. Boop, there's a camera. This is my lovely desk. These are my lovely little hands. I think I can adjust the camera a little bit here. Give me a sec. That's me. Wrong camera. Just trying to grab the frame of it. Give me this one. Oh, we're just gonna go to studio mode. I'll do it off screen here, just so I can get it to the right size that I want. There we go. Yeah, it needs to be very close up so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Nothing, Blue. We just started. I'm just readjusting the camera a little bit. There we go. Take studio mode. Oh, I'm very quiet? I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me fix the mic. Okay. Is that better? I'm sorry. It's been a while. So I'm actually going to run through you like real basics here. Oh, let's get this all caught up. Okay. So let's start with the very basics, which is hooks. So for beginners, what you probably want is you want a 5.5. This is, I'm showing you the hooks I have, or a 6 or a 5mm hook. They might be different measurements in America, but that's what they are in Canada, is the 5.5 or the 6mm hooks, or the 5mm. That's what I would start with. And then they also, if you have hands that are prone to like cramping, you can get ones with these kind of grips that will make it easier on your hands. Like, as someone who's done thousands of hours of crocheting, I like some of these like grip crochet hooks because they're less hard on my hands. Other basics that you probably want are stitch markers. You don't have to even buy fancy stitch markers like I have here. You can literally use safety pins. Just, you want something as you spend more time and do more projects. You want stitch markers. I just have a bunch of like actual stitch markers because someone bought them for me. And then the very last basic thing that you probably want, so I have them right here, is that you want embroidery needles. Specifically embroidery needles for yarn, because you can't use like thread needles with them, because you're never going to get yarn through a regular embroidery needle. So you need like a thread needle, or you need a yarn one. Then everyone, like every video I've ever seen is like, use this weight of yarn, use that weight of yarn. Like you want worsted weight, or you want bulky, or you want thin yarn. The way you tell that is you can actually find it right on the ball. Oh, you made your own because you found cheap French hooks things? Yeah, perfect. If you can make your own charms, make your own like these things. If you can make your own stitch markers or embroidery needles, whatever, that'll work too. You know, if you're crafty, do that. But if you ever need to figure out what the weight of your yarn is, you can find it directly on the yarn ball you're buying. So this one that I have right here, it says right there, it's a bulky yarn. So it'll say it's a 5, it's a bulky. And then it usually tells you what size of hook to use on it. So bulky, you generally use an 8mm. Honestly, the more you use it, just use whatever hook. It's like, the more you do it, just use whatever hook is comfortable in your hand. But when you're starting out, I wouldn't recommend using anything over a medium or a worsen weight. So this is not actually a worsen weight. This is like a simply soft tweed, but you wouldn't want to use it. I just want to show you like the label. This is a 4, it's a medium. This is like the best thing to use for beginners, is a 4, and generally a worsen weight. The slippery ones are going to be harder to use in the beginning. But this is for something I'm going to show you later. But this is like a worsen weight yarn. It's just a basic yarn. But what I want to show you is when you're starting a project, you want to find, or when you're starting a ball of yarn, you never want to pull from this outside thread, even though that looks easier to do. You want to pull from the thread on the inside, because that's going to be less of a problem. And you're going to get less tangled if you pull it from the inside. Now, if you can't find it, like this one, because like this one, it doesn't have an obvious thread coming out from the inside. See, doesn't have an obvious thread coming out from the inside. You might have to dig for the inside to get the knot. Just dig in there and pull out the knot and you'll find the thread. Real easy. And you just pull it until you find the thread in the middle of the knot. But that'll keep your skein of yarn. That's what this is called. This is called skein of yarn, a ball of yarn, whatever. But that'll keep it nice and tidy as you're pulling your yarn from the inside the whole time. Sometimes you'll pull out a knot, but it's usually not like knotted is the thing. And then this I'll just ball. Yeah, see, these are ones from old projects I just balled back up. But yeah, those are like super simple, helpful basics that no one really taught me. They were just like, here's some yarn, here's how you do the stitches. Blah, blah, blah. And then I'm literally just going to shove that back in. Vomit. So you said you wanted to know how to do a magic circle. Which I don't use magic circles very much unless I'm doing stuffy projects. But it is a good skill to learn how to know. Because some people prefer them, some people don't. But the easiest way to do a magic circle, take 2 fingers, and go over, 2 fingers, under, and create an X. And then I usually hold my thread like that when I do it. And then I have the X on top. And of course my X screwed up immediately. Yeah. So I learned the X method. Just do the X method. As long as you have an X somewhere. So you go under 1. It's not working for me. Make an X on the top of your fingers. You go under 1, over the other, pull it under and make a circle around that. So we'll do it slower. So have your X or your crossed over threads. I can do it better. There. Take your X, go under the front one, over the back one, drop your hook over, pull it around, around, so that it's tied in a circle, and then pull underneath so it's over top of that. And then you go back under. Oop. No, I did it wrong. Why am I doing this wrong today? Create your X. Okay. So, I'm not explaining this right. It's been a long time since I've had to explain it. Put your end between your thumb and your finger. Go over, back over here, and then back over like that. Go under the front one, circle like that. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm going to use the actual terms. I just go under, over. I just do it without thinking. Let's take your end, take your working yarn, over in a circle, come back under your pointer finger, cross it over to make the X. You go under the first one, over the back one, loop it around the hook, and then pull it under the front one so that you have a circle around the hook. So it should look like that. And it should be twisted here. And you go back over to the working yarn and wrap it around the hook again, and then you pull through the loop. And that creates the stitch. And that's how you get the magic circle. And you know it's correct because you can pull the end and it'll close the circle. You can pull the other way and you can open the circle again. Okay. And then if you pull it, it'll untie it. Yeah, because working on crochet, as long as you don't tie off your working end, you are always just creating a series of loops that are interconnected. So yeah, working end between your thumb and your pointer finger, loop over your index finger, under your pointer finger, cross the yarn over itself to create the X. In the second half of the X, go under the first thread, over the back thread, wrap it in a circle over the head of the hook, and pull it under the first thread to create the loop around the crochet hook. And then you go over the non-working thread again to grab the working thread, and then you pull the working thread through the hoop. I just missed it that time. Pull the working thread through the hoop, and then you have the stitch to make the magic circle. Does that make sense? And then to check that your magic circle is working, you pull the end thread and it should pull the circle in on itself. And then you can pull it the other direction and it'll open the circle back up. Okay, well, let's start there. Boop. So the way I usually hold my thread when I'm crocheting, depends what I'm doing. If I'm just like crocheting to start, I guess, yeah, I'm left-handed. So if you're right-handed, you would be holding it this way. So let's go thumb and pointer. I bet you I can do it opposite-handed. Thumb and pointer. Over your index, under your pointer, over your index further back to make the X. You go under, okay. Under, the 10th thread over this one, the working thread, and then pull it back. Nope. Nope. Under. Oh, I can't do it backwards. No, I can't do it backwards. Sorry. Also, no, I'm working right-handed. I'm just holding left-handed. So yeah, when I think about holding my crochet, I usually put my thread between my thumb and my index, and then I run it over my pointer finger. Hi, Cole. It just depends where I start. Yeah, most people usually hold with their... The person who taught me was my grandma, and she was right-handed. So most people hold with their yarn with their left hand and work with their right hand. So let's actually talk about the most important thing that's going to happen when you're crocheting is that your hands are going to get sore, especially when you're learning your tension and stuff like that. So your tension shouldn't be so tight that it's hurting you. Let me just do this real quick. Boop. So that's the knot I usually start with, is a slip knot. I just need to do this to get into position. Okay, this is how I usually hold my yarn. As I hold it across the palm of my hand, around my pointer finger, and then with my index holding my tail. So that my end yarn is straight down. Yeah, so that's the slip knot. It's the easy one. So this is what's most comfortable for me. And then my hook is across the palm of my right hand with my index near the hook, and my fingers are cradling the base of the hook, and my thumb is doing a lot of the holding around this area, the flat area of the hook. So let's show that starter knot again. It's really easy. It's just a slip knot. So you wrap a circle, you pull the thread through, and you tighten. That's it. Now the way to make sure it's working properly, wrap the thread through. I don't even know how I do it anymore. Wrap it around your finger is usually what I do. And then you want to pull the working yarn through. And you can check that it's working properly by pulling the working yarn. If the working yarn is pulling through the hook, the hole, then you have a working slip knot. If it's not and you're pulling the working end or the end thread through, you don't have a working slip knot. So, boop, and then you just tighten it on there. Now for tension, your yarn should not be resisting when you're pulling it. it should just be gliding with you. Otherwise, you're holding it too tight. But your stitches should be an even width at the same time. So the way I do that is by also holding the working yarn with my index and my thumb at the same time. That kind of helps me keep control. This is where the hand cramping comes in. Now, one thing about crochet is you're going to learn real fast that you don't know how to count. That's where stitch markers come in handy. So when I did like a blanket of 100 across, I had to mark every 10. Otherwise I'd forget. And if you make a mistake in your counting, you just pop them all out. Super easy. So yeah, again, even your slip knot pops out. As long as you don't tie off your working yarn, you will be fine to correct any mistakes you make, is the real important part there. And even if you tie off your working yarn, pardon me for dropping the metal on metal hooks, if you have a embroidery needle, you can probably fix it. It's once you cut your working yarn, then you are screwed. That's when you're actually screwed, is once you cut the working yarn off. You're done. I fixed a lot of mistakes in my day as a crocheter. Alright, so the key to getting good at your tension, let's do the slip knot again. So slip knot is you wrap it around the finger and you pull the working yarn through the center, and then you pull it tight. And you check it by pulling the working yarn through a bit and pulling it back. You put the yarn on the hook, slide it closed around the hook. So you get settled in your hold, wrap it around your pointer finger and down your palm. Put your end between your pointer and your thumb. Put your hook on your palm. Put the head of the hook by your finger. Or, you'll find what'll feel comfortable for you naturally. This is what feels naturally comfortable to me. It's probably why I have like arthritis hands from crocheting. So then the first thing you'll do with any crochet project is you will start with slip stitches, which is you will just pull, you'll wrap your working yarn around the hook and pull it through. That's it. And you'll do however many of those across your project needs or your practice pieces need. So we're just going to practice. I'm going to show you how to do, let's say, single stitch, half double stitch, and what's the other one? Double crochet. So to do that, we will go 10 across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slip stitch is the easiest one. just like that. Now, when you're turning to do your stitch into the tops of these, depending on what stitch you're putting in the top is how many stitches you add to the end. If we're doing a single stitch, you just add one, because you're only going to be going one high. Then you flip the piece, turn your hook, and then you should have 10 stitches to work back into. So for like a half double crochet, I would do 2 up, and for just a regular double crochet, I would do 3 up. There is a triple crochet. I don't like the look of it, and I find it to be exceedingly complicated to deal with. But single crochet is a good stitch for like, actually we're going to do 15 across, so I'm at 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, do one more. There. I lost count. Even though I counted out loud, I lost count. And working yarn. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 1. So this is just a good basic stitch. So we'll take it. So a single crochet is a good stitch. You use it for a lot of things. You use it in a lot of projects. If you're doing things like amigurumis or stuffies, you'll use this stitch for that specifically. So I will take this hook and I'll put it into the top stitch here. Oh, camera, can you focus? Just in through that stitch. So now I got 2 hooks on there. We'll wrap the yarn around the head of the hook and pull it back through. I still have 2 stitches in there, but I've worked through that first stitch. And then we'll wrap once more around the hook and we'll pull through both those 2 loops. That's a single crochet stitch. Oop. And I think it looks pretty. It kind of looks like a knit and purl stitch if you knit, but just with a fancy top, just with a fancy hat. So then we'll do the same to the next one. Go in through that first stitch, or the top stitch, wrap around, pull back through, wrap around again, then pull through both those stitches. There. In through there, wrap around, back through. Boop. There. Go in through the top stitch. Wrap around your hook. Pull it back through the top of the stitch. Wrap it around. There. It's a very easy stitch. I'm trying more to make sure my hands are in focus. Sorry. Here we go. So in through the top stitch. Wrap it around the hook. Pull it back through the top of the stitch. over the hook again, then pull back through. All right, one more time, sorry. In through the top of the stitch, wrap around the top of the hook, I'm doing the singles. I did a single after I did the 15 chain. I did one extra chain, and then I turned it so that we can do the single stitches. I can pull back out to here. There we go. Oof. All right, and then just let me know and I'll show you. I realized I was kind of covering while I was working, so. Now it's not going to be back into the one that the thread is coming, or the yarn is coming through, because unfortunately, if we do that, I can show you what will happen. So this is the one the yarn is coming through. If we go back into that to do a stitch, it's just going to create a mess. You just get something that looks like that, where the yarn is wrapped around. There, you can't make a stitch out of that, unfortunately, because you have your working yarn just wrapped around it twice. So don't go back into the one that the yarn is coming through. You want to go back to the one before it. Not the one the yarn is coming out of, to the one before it. Go into the top of the stitch, wrap it around, and then pull it back through. Boop. And then wrap around the top of the hook again, and then pull it back through both loops. And then you got your first cute little stitch. And then same to the next one. Go into the top. And if they don't look cute and neat at first, it just takes practice. That's it. I made messes all the time when I was learning. So let's look here. I don't know if I can get the camera to focus really well, but we go into that top of the loop. Oop, wrong way. Into the top of the loop. Pull it down, around the head, pull it through, so you have 2 loops on there. Go over the hook again, and then pull the thread through 2 loops. So I find what helps me get it through the loops and through like any of the holes is that my hook faces down when I pull through and then turns back up. I wish I had like a black hook against the blue thread. That would look better for you. So we got, see how it's facing down to the yarn. We lift the stitch over, the top of the stitch over. We wrap the yarn around it. We bring it down and through. We wrap it over. We bring the hook down and through, and it's facing back up. Turn it down, go through the stitch, and turn the needle back, the hook back up. We wrap around the hook, turn it, the head down, and bring it through. We wrap the yarn over so that we got essentially 3 wraps of yarn on it. We bring the hook down so that we can grab the very end one and go down and through the 2 loops. And it comes back up. Into the hole, into the top of the stitch with the hook facing down, wrap the yarn around, bring it through the hole, now the hook's facing up, we wrap the yarn around, twist the head of the hook down, and then bring it down and through the 2 loops. And that's about what it should look like. Of course, my camera doesn't want to focus. But yeah, if you want to send me a picture, Blue, you can, and I can let you know what it looks like we're doing. But yeah, essentially it'll look like your top loop on your stitch from your bottom one, from your chain, has 2 loops, 2 loops of thread coming out of it, or 1 loop of thread coming out of it, and then another loop of thread on top of it. And then a loop of thread coming out of the top when it's done. Bet you I can get my hands closer. Go through the top loop with the hook facing down towards the end yarn. Wrap the yarn around. And here's another thing you can do is with the index finger, because it works near the hook, is you can just grab the yarn as well, the working yarn, to keep it in place. Pull it through the hook. I find that helps a lot when you're doing these slip stitches ones, like the beginning hook stitches. They're always the harder ones to deal with. So if you need like extra grip, extra like nail work, or extra grip, extra, you know, flexibility, just take your time with the beginning ones. I do all the time. I did all the time. I still do all the time. Because they're mean. Getting them just right. So yeah, go through. And pull through. Wrap around and pull through. Another way is you stick it through its guts, wrap around its head, pull its guts out, wrap it around its neck, yank its head off. It works better with knitting. Stick it with the hook down, wrap around, pull it through the hook, the hole, wrap it around, hook down, pull it through both loops, pull it out with the hook up. Strangle it and scoop its guts out. Yeah. You strangle it, you scoop its guts. You shove it in. You strangle it, you scoop its guts. You strangle it, you scoop its guts. I had to put my glasses down. My eyes be hurting after work today. And at this stage, it's always going to curl when it's this small, but yeah, it'll uncurl. Yeah, girl, you're getting it. I see them. I see them starting to form. You're doing it. You're doing it. Yeah, the curl at the early stage is normal. Like, see, even mine's curling. Stabbies. Yeah. And like I said, that's just a practice thing. It's a practice with the tension. It's a practice with the getting used to it. So I'm just going to finish off my row here. Boop. show you how to move up to the next row. So you know what this stitch is actually really good for? If you get worse in weight yarn, which it looks like you have, do these about 20-25 wide. Make some dishcloths while you're practicing. That's what I did. But yeah, I know you want to make those skull granny squares. I believe those, I didn't look them up, but I'm going to. I believe those are a modified granny square. So this is going to build up to that. Because I believe those have single crochets, double crochets, and they're worked in a round, which a granny square is technically, even though it's a square, it's worked in a round. Ugh, and working in a round is like the best thing. I prefer working in rounds versus working in lines. Because then you can just go back and forth and back. Instead of going back and forth and back and forth, which I find when I work back and forth, I'm more prone to making mistakes versus when I'm working in a round, it's much harder for me to make a mistake. Yeah. Yeah, see? And yeah, if your tension is, when you have your tension more solidified and you notice it's curling at the start of your project, just straighten it. I do it all the time. Now, the last stitch is going to be annoying, but let me know when you get to it. Take your time, though. Don't worry about rushing. But yeah, I do love it. Oh, you're flying through. Good job. Good job. I don't forget which button makes him meow. No? Hold on. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one. Ooh, not that one. Well, that one makes me cry. Well, that one takes off my shirt. There it is. It's 0. I remember now. I'm not playing with my model. What are you talking about? Meow. To my little bean. I know, it's because I'm looking around the room and sometimes my face gets a little fucked up. She be doing that. I love that Chaos's eyes also follow where my eyes are going. And his ear physics. Also because I'm wearing my glasses. Oh, I can do this too. Yay! Okay, I'm gonna stop playing around with my model. We're being too cute. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll take it and we will turn it. Boop, boop. We'll put the working end back down here and we will do one slip stitch because that'll give us the height we need. To start the next row. Otherwise it's gonna look funny and it'll look like hunched over. Because if we don't do a slip stitch, it's gonna look hunched over when we start the next row. I'll show you. I gotta get back in the yarn. So if we don't do a slip stitch and we just go in through, so what we want to do is go through both parts of this little, I need a needle. You see how along the top we've created these little V's? And on the side, we have these two little threads on the top part of the stitch. We have one here, and one here. We want to go between these two threads and under the V, like there. I made a little hole with my needle. But if we don't do a slip stitch, our first stitch is going to be slouchy, and slowly we will lose a stitch each row. See? It gets all slouchy if we don't do a slip stitch. So we undo that. So at the very start of our row, we do a slip stitch to give it its height. Then we go in between into that divot under the V between the two threads that make the top of the stitch. We wrap around and we pull through. And then we do the same thing that we did for the single stitches. We wrap around and we pull through. And then you see we have a nice flat side. Instead of a slouchy side. And then because we're working on the back side, it doesn't actually look the same as the front of the side. The front of the side, it has those little bubbles, and then a bubble, and then the bubbles at the top of the stitch. The back of the side just looks like a bunch of interconnected stuff. That's okay. That's how you know what's the back side and what's the front side. So, front side just looks like a neat row of bubbles. Back of the side looks like kind of 4 rows of bubbles at this point. These are the front row is gonna look a lot more stacked and neat. So yeah, you go in between the 2 things, but under the full V. Wrap it around the head of the hook. Pull it through, wrap around the hook, turn the hook down, pull it through, and the hook should be turned up again. See, now on the back it should be looking like a V at the bottom and a line across the top. My tension's way off today. That's okay. Worsen weight is a very forgiving thread. And then you just do that same stitch we've done all the way across. In, wrap, pull through, hook up, hook down when you go through. So yeah, if you think about it, your hook should be up when you wrap and go down when you pull through. Down when you're going through, up when you're wrapping, down when you're going through, up when you're wrapping, down when you're going through. It's just a lot of little like helpful hints. They're not hard and fast rules. Those are just things that work for me. Down when you're going through, up when you're wrapping. You'll even notice sometimes like I only put it like halfway up, like this. When I'm through the stitch here, I'm only like kind of up. This would technically be all the way up. I'm only halfway here. And then the end one on this one, because it's our very first stitch, is just going to be annoying. So you just have to make sure you get both the parts of the V on this one, on the end of the row. beep, 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 beep. My child is behaving really well. I'm very proud of him. Under the V as you put it in or out? I think I'm stuck on where to do the first step. Okay. Okay, so let's go all the way back to the beginning. So we go up, to the first V. All right, so we did the first we did a slip stitch to make it one higher, right? Ooh, my hands are shaking a little bit. So we go that V, you go under the V, and should just slide through right under the V. No worries. So we did the slip stitch. You just go right, there's the V, and just go right under the V. And it should just go right underneath. I can grab the needle again. Is the end the bad end or the working end? So do we want the working yarn? So if we think about it, your working yarn should always be above. And your finished end should always be below. Or if you even turn it like this, your working end should always be to the right, and your working end should always be on your left. So yeah, unlike knitting, you don't have to like ever drop your project to continue stitching. I know a lot of like knitters, depending on which hold the grip they do, they have to like drop it to wrap their yarn. I hate that. So I don't even hold my knitting properly because I'm primarily a crocheter. I have to just be able to hold it and wrap it at the same time. Because I'm a mess. So yeah. So yeah, finished end down, working end up. Your first V will be right by your V that your next stitch that you're working in will always be closest to the hook. So hook down through the stitch, wrap, pull through, wrap, pull through. And now your projects actually should be a little bit easier to hold because you can hold it more parallel with your hand as opposed to having it pushed down. So yeah, as opposed to having it hang down, you can have it in your fingers like that. So there's your V. You can hold it, your V, you can hold it between your thumb and your index and identify the hole. Put your hook right through. Put your hook through, wrap it, pull it back through, wrap it, and pull back through. And then step your fingers to the next V, the V, pinch it with your fingers. You can find the hole from there and slide the hook through. Wrap it around, pull through, wrap it around, and pull through both loops. Put your fingers at the end of the V, You can find the hole, push the hook through the hole, wrap it around, pull it through the hole, wrap it around the hook again, go down and pull through the hole. So we just want to find, bring the hook back down, the end of the V again, end of the V. Maybe I should have used a darker thread. The end of the V right there. Then we can find the hole from there. Slide the hook through the hole. Wrap around the hook and pull it back through the hole. Boop. And then wrap it around and pull through the 2 loops. Yeah, so that's probably the thing that'll help the most is when you identify the V, is you can pinch your fingers at the end of it. Don't drop your thread. Pinker, don't be stupid. So pinch your fingers at the end of it, and then that should automatically show you where the hole is. And just slide your fingers through. Your fingers. Can you tell I worked 8 hours today? Wrap it around the hook and pull it back through. Boop. Pinch at the end of the V to find the hole. Wrap around and pull through. Wrap around and pull through the 2 loops. Well, thank you. I'm glad it makes sense. Yeah. Pinch at the end of the V so you can find the hole. slide through, wrap around the hook, and pull through. Wrap around the hook and pull through the 2 loops. Yeah, I don't know. See, I find a lot of the tutorials that I look up, because I still look up tutorials despite the fact that I've been doing this for so long, because sometimes there's things I'm like, I just forget how to do this, or I want to try a different stitch, or I need to learn how to join these 2 things together. Or, you know, sometimes I just can't figure out how to wing it to get it to work. So I just need help, even after all these years. The tutorials aren't always made the best for beginners in mind. There's like, here's all these terms, here's all these things. It's like, do this, do that. And I'm like, okay, well, what about people who don't always know exactly what the terms are? And then, like, God forbid, beginners try and read a pattern. It's like the craziest thing there is. So yeah, pinch at the end of the V, slide through the hole, wrap them around the hook, and then pull through, wrap around the hook, and pull through the 2 loops. So yeah, when you do get to like pattern reading and stuff like that, I can help you with that too. Because I literally, when I started reading patterns, I literally had to look them up to be like, what is this saying? It's ridiculous. Push through the circle or the hole, pull through the loop, the hole, wrap around, and pull through the 2 loops. But yeah, basically, once you know the very basics of stitches, once you can, from there you can kind of figure out what people are teaching with more complicated things. But as long as you have the audacity and the determination, you can learn how to do all of it. What I want to learn how to do still, I have the hook, I just have to start it, is God, what is it called now? It's a specific type of crochet. It uses one of these long hooks. It's like mega advanced crochet. I'm gonna do it. I just, I haven't sat down to do it. I mean, I taught myself how to knit. I can teach myself how to do anything. Yeah, it's a long boy. Basically, you put the hook, all the loops onto the hook, and then you build them off, and then you slide the hook back in to all the new loops, and then you build off. It's complicated. It looks real complicated. But I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna do it. And then do you want to keep just practicing with single crochet or a single stitch for now? And do you want me to teach how to do a double half? Or do you just want to keep practicing single crochet for now? Because now you got it. Like, you just want to keep practice on this stitch for a while, and then from there you learn the next stitch and the next stitch. And then you learn how to work it around. And then you learn how to do the granny square. But if you feel like you want to master this first, you can practice on this guy for a bit. Like I said, this is a good stitch to learn to do washcloths. But this is like a good fundamental because, you know, you learned how to do the chain, which you already knew. You know how to do the slip stitch, and you know how to turn your project. You know how to work into the chain, and you know how to move up to the next row. Sorry, my other child is eating now. I can hear her on the other side of the room. I can show you some of the other things I've made too. Not a blanket. That's way too big to fit into this little area, but I can show you a stuffy if you want. Yes. Right. Give me a second. I'm going to grab one of my stuffies and I'll show you that. So yeah, let me show you how versatile a single crochet stitch is. This is a jellyfish I made for my cat. This is all made almost entirely with single crochet stitches minus this ribbing here. Even these little twirlies. This is all single crochet stitch. And some of it's just loose thread. These are actually just slip stitches here. But this is all single crochet. This is all single crochet. This is all single crochet. Its whole head is single crochet. This little guy here, he's a little cat. Little ears. His little feet. He's a square cat I made with little ears. He's got feet. They're all attached to the bottom. He's got a tail too. Yeah, he's all made of single crochets. It's another cat toy. I got another jellyfish too. Yeah, his whole head, minus this frill part, it's all single crochet. So it's a very useful stitch. But yeah, even this twirly, it's just, I did single crochet into the same stitch like twice. And that's how I got it to twirl. It's another cat toy. And even this octopus. Everything on this guy is a single crochet. So yeah, when you're making like amigurumis and stuff like that, it's almost all of it's going to be a single crochet or a slip stitch or 2 single crochets into the same stitch. And then safety eyes. And he's got a little W mouth. So it looks like the most basic, boring stitch. It is the most useful stitch. It's your building blocks. It's your foundations. It's your base stitch. And if you don't learn it, you're not going to be any good at the other ones. Oh, the bases of these feet, that's how you work in a round. So you think I made the base of these feet with magic circles. And the top of his head. Yep. Most amigurumis, they're made with single crochet stitches. But after you've mastered your single crochet stitch, your bread and butter is for blankets and stuff like that. For scarves, I would say would probably be a double half crochet. For blankets is probably going to be a double crochet stitch. Those would be the ones. Double half crochet is, oh my god, how do I do it? Let's go 2 up, over, under, like through the hole, back through 2. Nope, that's not right. Through, back, through. Yeah, that's it. I had to think. I haven't done it in a while. Okay, so double half crochet is you go through the loop or through the hole, you pull it back, you pull one through, fix yourself, pull one through, so you have two on there, you wrap again, and you pull both through. So you just have like an extra notch before you have your two stitch. It's real pretty. So it's through the hole, around the hook, you pull it back, you wrap again, you pull it only through one loop, and then you wrap again and you pull it through two loops. I'm not expecting you to remember that. I'd say keep working on your single crochet first. And then I need another step up. Double crochet is over, through the hole, over again, back out, wrap again. This time you want to wrap in front, or I do. Pull it through two, wrap again, pull it through the last two. And it's a very twisty looking one. Yeah. Yeah, see, once you understand how to do a single crochet, it makes more sense on how to do the rest of them. So yeah, I remember it's through, wrap, pull through, wrap it around, pull it through the first loop, then you only have two loops on there, wrap it around again, pull it through the rest. So through the loop, wrap, pull it back through so you have two loops on there, wrap the yarn, pull it through the first loop, wrap the yarn again, pull it through the last two. Yeah, it's lots of fun. Yeah, I'm getting sleepy. So I might stop for the night. Also, my hands are starting to hurt because I do work on a computer all day. I keep trying to do a double crochet. That's not what I want to do. I want to do a double half crochet. But I would say, yeah, keep practicing the single crochets. Just go back and forth. And, you know, do them in various sizes for now. And once you get that, you're good to move on to like the next few stitches and other like stitch and that'll help you practice like your tension and all that stuff. Oh my gosh, Blue, that looks so good. I love it. Yeah, Diva's down. I got cat hair in my mouth, I think. Yeah, absolutely. So just Just keep practicing. I keep trying to do a double half or a double crochet on this. I want to finish my row of double halves. This is gonna look cute. No, I screwed up. Yeah, this was fun. I hope you guys learned stuff, everyone who stopped by. I'm going to try and stream more. Maybe not more art, maybe more games, more crochet stuff. I teach more. Maybe not on a Friday night after work. Maybe on a Friday night after work. We'll see. I had a lot of fun doing this. I haven't crocheted in a while. Maybe on a Sunday after my hands have had a day to rest. Oh my gosh. They're so sore. Also, another thing. Try and keep your nails shorter, but not like short to the bone short. Because I find my nails catch on thread if I don't. Or don't. I don't know, man. It's up to you. Yeah, I'm so excited. I need to get away from Genshin because I get way too obsessed. Anyways, I'm off to do my Genshin dailies, I think. I can't actually raid you out to anyone because I don't have enough people. Do I have any friends who are streaming? Do I have any friends who are streaming? Let's go. Enjoy your Genshin. I will. Go watch this emo kid talk about drama. I don't know what he's talking about, but he's usually entertaining, I guess. Okay, I love you guys.